great to hear about all that's going on here in Orlando. My name's Christine Primmer, and I'm with Georgia Power and Southern Company, and here to talk to you about what we're doing with smart cities, both in the city of Atlanta and then also thinking about what we intend to do broadly across the state. Just a few quick metrics related to our organization for those of you who aren't familiar with it. So it starts with Southern Company. We're the second largest investor-owned utility in the United States, operating in 19 states with over 9 million customers and a number of different operating companies, of which Georgia Power is one. We're a vertically integrated utility and serve about 2.5 million customers in the state of Georgia. And the interesting thing about that is, we're serving the city of Atlanta, and that's where a lot of our early work is, just piloting and working through solutions. But really, we think a lot about what a smart city means for cities of all sizes. And so we're actively looking at some programs to define what that means for cities that are smaller and medium-sized as well. So working with Georgia Tech on that, but I'm not going to touch on that too much here. But so in addition to our 2.5 million customers, about 8,000 employees and 8.5 billion in revenue. So, and we've been in operation for about 100 years, but I think we actively recognize that the world around us is changing dramatically, and that's what's led us to look at smart cities as a potential new suite of offerings for our customers. And that really starts with our customers are changing, and where they live are changing. 75% of the world's population is expected to live in cities by the year 2050, which is up from about 50% just a few years ago. And in our heart of our headquarters in the city of Atlanta, they're expecting about 2 million people in the next couple of decades, which is just going to dramatically put a strain on infrastructure as if there wasn't one already. I don't know if anybody's sat in Atlanta traffic before, but it's not very fun. But luckily, people are figuring out how to get around differently. Millennials drive 22% fewer miles than they did in decades past. And even though there's been an increase in population for that generation, there's also been a decrease in driver's licenses, which blows my mind. I know I was really excited about getting a driver's license when I turned 16. And really a lot of that is because they're buying goods and services differently. And the advent of the smartphone has allowed these folks to get access to mobility options through their smartphone, no longer need to own assets. So it's really thinking about a high customer touch option that can help our customers out. The environment is changing. Extreme weather events like Hurricane Irma and Hurricane Harvey obviously were near and dear to our hearts this past fall. So it's really causing cities to think differently about this concept of resilience. I know Charles talked a little bit about that. And many cities, including the city of Atlanta, have actually signed up to the commitments from the Paris Accords, despite our national government's decision to back out. So our cities are increasingly thinking about the concept of resilience and carbon emissions, and we as a utility have a responsibility to help them address that. And in addition to that, luckily technology is changing to help us serve those customer needs more effectively. Solar has been the number 1 or number 2 generation source for the last 5 years, and which is dramatic considering where it stood about a decade ago. And the Internet of Things, as everyone I'm sure here is aware, is going to be huge. 75 billion connected devices by the year 2050 or 2020, excuse me, which is an order of magnitude change from just a few years ago. So these are all things that have led us to really think about what our smart city strategy could look like. And when I think about, and Charles touched on some of this as well, when I think about what a smart city is, I really think about going from siloed systems to a system of systems. So if you think about the early advent of cities being serving just your basic human functions, food, water, and housing, and the evolution of and then moving on to the infrastructure that actually served those cities, like utilities and hospitals, et cetera. But when I think of a future city and the connectedness of it, I think about really creating a system of systems and using data and connectivity to put those together. And so this is actually very similar to his examples of what I think of when I think of a smart city, but it's hard to talk about a smart city without talking about data and connectivity. So it's a key element, being connected and integrated. Smart cities are safe and easy to get around in, so we talk a lot about mobility options and public safety. They're efficient, both operationally efficient and energy efficient, so that's been a big topic for us as well. Resilience is a big one as well, and we've talked a little bit about that. And they're also growing. I think a lot of our cities, both large and small, see economic development as a key driver for their operations in smart cities. Oop. It doesn't want to advance. There we go. So this is our vision of the applications that we're looking at from a smart city standpoint across our utility. I'm going to focus in on one of them today, but just to kind of give you the breadth. And it starts with our infrastructure. So we've got, one of the largest fleets of LED streetlights in the country, which we're really proud of, and I'll talk more about that. But we've also got a significant amount of advanced metering infrastructure, so smart meters. We've got about 2.5 million across the state, and a number of other applications as it relates to those infrastructure options. Looking a lot with smart buildings, smart mobility, and electrified transit, and creating electrified autonomous corridors is something we're talking actively about. And then we kind of move across the spectrum there, even looking at smart health and education options. So now I'll zero in kind of on a project that we're working on, or a concept that we're working on from a business model standpoint, and talk a little bit about a project in Atlanta. So zooming in into our cities and communities, we have over 850,000 streetlights across the state of Georgia, which can really serve as a key data collection device for a lot of smart city applications. And so that's really where we focused a lot of time and energy. And about half of those are LED lights, like I said, one of the largest fleets in the country, which we're really proud of. And about half of those are connected through network lighting controls, meaning we can turn them on and off remotely. And so leveraging this network, we're looking at a lot of different options to connect to that streetlight. So we've just launched a connectivity program with allowing carriers to attach small cells to our lights, so enabling the 5G infrastructure that is coming on strong these days. We also have camera programs that where we own and operate cameras and serve up public safety options, and also connectivity with traffic signals, et cetera, and I'll talk a little bit more about that. Digital signage, so leveraging that light pole to offer digital signage to our cities and communities and other stakeholders. And then also advanced environmental sensors to enable stormwater detection, et cetera. So those are the kind of the concepts. And now I'll talk a little bit about what we're doing in the city of Atlanta, and with a strong partnership with GE and AT&T. So City of Atlanta has a smart ATL program where they've got a portfolio of about 50 projects that they're working through, and a lot of them are very much pilots and testing out toys, as he pointed out. But we're really excited in particular about the toy that we're testing out, and we really think of it as more than a toy because it touches multiple departments. And this program is really unique in that sense because it pulls together the Department of Public Works, the Traffic Management Department, the Parking Department, the Atlanta Police Foundation, and the Atlanta Police Department, and Renew Atlanta, which is a organization managing a $250 million infrastructure bond to help improve traffic operations across the city. And it's really pretty powerful because getting these groups in a room for the first time, when they fairly rarely have really ever collaborated, I think it's really important, and that's why this particular piece of infrastructure I think is really exciting. So this is a picture of the piece of hardware that, like I said, it's the digital infrastructure node that both GE and AT&T are partnering together to serve up to their cities and communities, of which we are one of their customers. So the device attaches very nicely to the light, and it blends in quite nicely. And it's got two cameras, 2 audio sensors, edge processing capabilities, which is really great and allows you to do a lot more than just kind of sending full video files back. And supports multiple connectivity options, like cellular is what we're leveraging today, but it can also support fiber and Bluetooth as well. And then the idea of this piece of hardware is just like the iPhone that was really overbuilt for any single purpose application. It can really enable an ecosystem of applications that will only continue to grow as the technology evolves. And right now we're working with 4 of these applications, and we'll look to hopefully develop even future ones as well. But to talk to the ones we are looking at, so the first is Light Grid, which allows for adaptive dimming, which in some applications can save up to 30% energy if you only focus the lights on cars that are moving. It can also allow for alerts in certain emergency situations, which is interesting, and we look forward to looking at that. The nodes themselves can also enable an application called ShotSpotter, which is a gunshot detection system. And it can narrow, using the audio sensors in the device, it can narrow down a gunshot alert from anywhere from 200 to 300 different addresses down to a radius of about 30 feet, which dramatically improves the ability of the police department to respond to these alerts. And in larger installations has actually reduced crime by about 30%. So we're looking forward to turning that on in a few square miles in the city of Atlanta as well. We're working with Genetech, which is a video management system to turn on a video-enabled case management tool that's kind of like a YouTube meets Dropbox, allows the police department to pull data from the nodes and store and share the files in their evidence management systems. And then a company called CivicSmart we're working with to use the edge analytics from the node to enable smart parking applications, alert the city when there's folks parked in places they shouldn't be, and eventually hopefully enable wayfinding so that citizens can find their way to parking spaces more quickly and effectively. So we're piloting 200 of these nodes in 5 different locations across the city, and they're on a mixture of Georgia Power and City of Atlanta poles, so we're kind of mutually investing in this pilot. And it's hard to really see the data here, but we've got 2 locations right around the new Mercedes-Benz Stadium where the Super Bowl will be next year, so we're excited about that. Some around our government complex, which is focused primarily on the parking applications that I talked about. And on the North Avenue corridor there's a lot of really interesting experimentation going on within the city of Atlanta around traffic. Some of the information that they've used from the cameras that are already there has helped reduce traffic congestion on that corridor by 7%, and we're hoping that with the addition of these nodes, we can actually drive that down even further. So those are, and then the Buckhead Loop, which is an area up north with several businesses and a lot of traffic congestion as well. Oh, I skipped over. So I guess I probably won't be able to play the video, but this is just an example of a visual of the street-facing camera. So there's 2 cameras on every device, and one focuses on the street, and one focuses on the sidewalk behind it. This one's focused on the street, obviously, and if you could play the video, you'd see some of the cars moving and the truck turning. But what I think is really interesting about that, there we go, thank you. What I think is interesting about that is not just the ability to see it, but actually pull that metadata back without having to pull a full video file. So we get traffic counts and vehicle speeds just based on the edge processing capabilities that they're out on the node. So I think that's what's really interesting and exciting about thinking what this could do with some of our partners in the traffic departments. And so looking ahead, we're just about ready to go live here in the next few weeks. And so we're actively thinking about our key performance indicators that we want to track for this program to build up the value proposition and think about what we might want to do going forward with a larger installation, both in the city of Atlanta and potentially with our community partners across the state. So, any questions? Thank you.